was living was inspiring Taz. But it had a two-way street effect.
With my son being involved, you know, it got the ball rolling for everything. That was just a turning point.
I believe we have gifts to offer each other.
I know I'm your grandfather, but at times I had to step in, and if I could step in and play the father role, I was willing to do that.
It's hard to focus on this work because you know, like, you just buried 3 friends on the same day.
So I would be there as a backbone for you to lift you up. If you see me in the crowd or something, that's motivation.
Booba was at a lower point. He really was until he got into Teen Empowerment.
Yeah, right. He didn't care too much about anything but
right.
hanging out on the corner thinking that was the way to go. Yeah.
My dad has been locked up ever since I was 10 years old, and I'm 19 now. I had so much anger at the world, and it came out in many ways. When I needed guidance, I looked for it in the wrong people.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that teen empowerment brought him out of his shell.
Yeah.
Because when he was younger, he was confused in life of what he should believe and what's really going on. He was unsure. And when he got into teen empowerment, you guys brought out a whole new light for him.
Yeah.
He started opening up more. He started speaking more. And you really got to know the side of him or who he wanted to be.
Right. Yep.
When I found out that she had a job at Teen Empowerment, I was happy because she had a child to take care of. My concerns was just you being a young mother and still being in school. And I just didn't want basically the world to eat you up and, you know, you be one of those statistics that they talk about.
I was watching my daughter struggle with choices, a lot of drug dealing in the neighborhood. It was instrumental in a lot of the ugly behavior I saw in my kids.
Where I live, I see too many of us being left behind.
I didn't say this in the beginning, but I believe that I want to be clear. I'm a woman who was addicted to drugs. I am now 25 plus years clean and sober, but I only got it at a minute at a time.
I'm learning to lead by example. I know that I get together with my friends and I talk about all the problems that I see in our schools with our kids. Well, now is the time to get up and come up here and share some of your ideas. I am so encouraged by what I've seen here today. For my daughter Ashley, I'm so proud of her.
We all go through trauma. We all see things that at such a young age we shouldn't even experience. When we first came to Rochester, we were homeless. We came from domestic violence family, a lot of shame. The 14 years that we went through it, I never told anyone what we were going through. So Adair was rebellious, he was depressed. We were getting help for him, but it just didn't seem to be working.
I believe they accepted you, like, immediately. People always, you know, turn their head and look or whisper or, you know, have something mean to say.
Well, tonight, that all stops. I am a black queen.
I believe that's definitely a gift to be able to stand up, and it's very brave as well.
Give it up for Amina. Queen Amina.
You brought something to the table that a lot of people couldn't bring.
Here, my name Amina. Would you still accept us?
To be able to stand up in front of a crowd of people and say,
Tell me something about the inside.
This is who I am. Accept me for who I am.
You are definitely an original. You are definitely a leader. Working with TE, I've seen you not become a follower. I've seen you be very community oriented. I've seen you really care. Really care. That's it.
I felt like you connected with your community. I felt like there was a disconnect between us and the community until you got with Teen Empowerment. And I think you already had the leadership qualities. They just helped you bring them out.
You know, I've always had a connection to the community simply because it's all we know. And we all grew up on Harley Street. So the neighborhood is all we had. You know, you lived in your house, yeah, but you lived on the whole street and you helped whoever needed help. I always encouraged DeAndre to help people however he could. He felt like teen empowerment was good at that. Helping people face issues, helping people face challenges. Historically, in terms of growing up in this neighborhood, we just dealt with them. We didn't really have a means to address them. You just kind of navigated them. And you did as best you can to not be affected by them. Before teen empowerment, they got addressed, but in a very occasional way. So something would happen, and then the community would react, and there would be some flare-up, and that would kind of be the end of it. But, you know, the activities that you all have, these young teens doing in the area, there's always someone working on police-community relations. There's always someone working on, safety issues. There's always someone working on whatever other issue has been identified by the community that needs addressing. It's not a situational one, it's a systematic approach to it. There was no organization here teaching kids how to do that before.
You had an impact like a small Martin Luther King. You voiced your opinion, you spoke on things that the community need to hear.
I learned from my parents, the way you want your kids to be is the way you need to live. So I chose to live a life of giving of myself, and it went to my kid. Watching him get involved kept me more and more involved. I could have said, nope, I just have to focus on my kids. But that wasn't the message I wanted to give them. I wanted to continue to give them the message that you give of yourself in any way that you can. I was doing it, he was doing it, and because he was doing it, it pushed me to do more.
I light this candle for the youth in Rochester to take the power that they're given and do something positive with it.
I happened to hear about a town hall meeting.
Teen empowerment at Rochester City Council chambers. Young people are talking tonight, adults listening.
And it was riveting because it was focused on the young people and what their concerns were. And they were all powerful. But I was especially pleased to see my son.
The thing is, I'm still speechless. It's just crazy. It's just that I'm not used to having my voice heard in the least.
I'd never heard him speak about those things that he was learning and teaching about himself in the community.
I go to Wilson, one of the best high schools in the nation. We still don't got books. We still don't got computers. This supposed to be good? How's this good? This situation was going on in Henrietta or Greece Olympia, they would flip.
And he talked about, if I recall, not only the things that were happening in the community in terms of teachers and law enforcement, but what young people were about themselves and what they needed to be about. I'll never forget this because he said something like, young people...
We see each other in the street.
Grilling each other.
Grill each other.
Getting up in each other's faces.
Mean mug each other. Because we don't know each other. That makes no sense. I have more in common than you and anybody else in the city. You know, I'm the same skin color as you. I get followed around the store like you. You know what I'm saying? I live in the same city, same neighborhood, same everything. We have so much in common, we don't even know it.
What was powerful about his message and the message of all those students was talking about what was wrong in terms of what adults were doing. But there was some amount of examination about what young people were doing. And I thought that was very, very powerful.
I was proud as a parent to see you talk so elegant in the community. Like, I never see that side of you. I knew that you were very gifted in a lot of areas. But to actually see you like stand up in the community and talk at a board meeting.
Personally, I feel like my fingerprint has been erased from our history because it's like, I don't know who I am.
Getting on a microphone and talk in the streets, like that was exciting for me to see. That was like a movement for me.
Our history matters.
Her recognizing her own power, it was like, okay, she's now becoming her own self. She has an opinion, and I have to respect it. And that's what I had to learn as a parent. Like, her voice matters.
Society is too blind to think us young girls can't use our minds.
I love that the young people finally have a word. Usually when young people talk, the adults are like, yeah, okay, sit down, you don't know what you're talking about. But this gives them a word and self-worth.
young girls, all girls. It's time we start encouraging each other and stop degrading one another and carry out the legacies of all our forgotten mothers. It's time we put aside our differences and use the similarities that we were gifted with to get the respect we were never included in the Declaration of Independence.
These young people make a lot of sense, put a lot of us older people to shame, like, wow.
The strength that young people bring, the fresh ideas, like salmon. They're swimming upstream and they leap right out the water, and it's a good thing. Fresh is always good.
I saw the change in him, seeing him becoming a leader, and I'm like, wow, look at my baby. Watching him on TV, watching him with the mayor.
Kids out of school for nonviolent offenses.
So that gave me the oomph to want to try too.
After listening to Brandon and all the students, I decided what I was going to do. And it wasn't the most popular thing, and it wasn't the most powerful thing, but I decided I would run for school board.
So once I met Rosemary, through Teen Empowerment, and she was like, we're going lobbying for the students, and I'm like, okay, yes, awesome, I'll do that. And honey, that got the ball rolling. That changed my life completely. And I haven't stopped giving back, and it feels so good. Through his organizing and his programs, like, okay, we're gonna do this together. You're gonna have your association, I'm gonna have mine, but we're still gonna work together.
I think on at least 3 occasions since I've gotten on the board, after listening to Brandon and all those wonderful young folks, I've gone back to the well a number of times to get out the very rich and inspiring and instructive guidance of our young people through Teen Empowerment.
Today I'm co-chair of the Education Committee and part of the Metro Justice Board. I'm also a board member for Citizen Action. And it all came from that one turnaround, which was Teen Empowerment.
Did you take away anything that we did at Teen Empowerment for yourself?
Yeah, it inspired me because it made me want to go back to school. For my whole life, I've been taking care of other people, doing things for other people. And since you've been gone, and thinking back on what you did and everything, I said maybe I need to get a little bit more education because this young man getting smarter than me. So that's something I'm planning on pursuing this summer.
Okay. What do you want to study?
Well, I've been looking for classes in sign language. I want to be an interpreter.
What's in store inside of you, you try to pass it on to give it to somebody else.
Now everybody do what we do and throw your hands in the air if you gon' change your school.
Because the same thing that you can do, they can do too.
Teen Empowerment definitely played a major role in that, and helping me build up who I was.
Yeah.
So that I could be able to pass on the knowledge,
That's right. That's right. If I had a hat right now, I'd tip my hat to you, You didn't let me down.
Thank you. You didn't let me down.
This was a stepping stone, Teen Empowerment, for my children to learn how to be responsible, how to be productive, to see what it's like in the real world to work, to deal with situations. We come together now as a family, and we are all working mothers. How cool is that?
A lot of y'all graduated. I seen the news clip. So where society could have took y'all under because of the things that y'all was going through, even if you didn't go through college, a lot of y'all is doing a lot of things in the community and just still working.
I have hope. I believe that Teen Empowerment is a great, resource for Rochester. It opened up a lot of doors and closed divisions, and I think that's important.
Well, it's social impact. We always talk about how kids are a product of their environment, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. People can impact their environments. You don't have to be a victim.